Hey guys, Third Impact here again to give you an episode review of Kill La Kill, episode 10, I Want to Know More About You. So, this was a freaking amazing episode. I loved every minute of this episode. As much as I enjoyed last week's episode, I enjoyed this week's episode a lot more. All those things where they were joking and like stalling for the action and all that, it was the complete opposite this episode. I got way more action than I was expecting at all. I came up with a few theories beforehand, thinking that maybe Inumuta was going to show up and he was just going to forfeit immediately, or he was going to take a back seat so that he could collect more data and let somebody else fight, or that it was maybe going to be I don't know, I thought maybe a tag team or something. But no, we get two full fights, pretty much, in this episode. So the first fight was with Houka Inumuta, the head of the Intelligence and Strategies Club, and the episode actually begins with a flashback. Like, right off the top, we're having his flashback. He's hacking into, like, a clothing company that Lady Satsuki's family has their hands in, and he gets caught hacking. He's immediately pursued by the satellites, which pick up his, like, location immediately. He's tracked down by Lady Satsuki and her men right away, and she offers him a spot at Honnoji Academy because she respects his skills and his talent, but is like, why are you wasting your time altering the virtual world when you could alter the system of the actual world? So that was how he got introduced to Lady Satsuki's party. Pretty much the most sort of, I don't know, his flashback was the most sort of just straightforward, sure, that's the reason why. And at the same time, his fight was also it was a good fight, but it was kind of surprising how easily he lost, in my opinion. So the fight starts and he transforms, awesome transformation sequence as per usual, but I kind of thought that Inumuta's was the weakest of all the ones we've seen so far, and we've now, after this episode, seen all four of the 3-star transformations. So his sequence was okay, his actual form was okay, but I also really liked and thought it was creative how he had like the keyboards all over his body, and he would like stand there with his arms crossed like a badass, but he'd be typing really fast at the same time. I thought that was really imaginative, and I hadn't seen something like that before, so like I really liked that, and it suited him really well, so that was cool. And I liked how he fought. I liked how they had his perspective where everything was red and black and virtual looking. He could calculate her movements and just dodge them very easily. But the fight was all just very much him dodging. At one point he goes invisible and he starts counterattacking. And since Ryuko can't figure out where he is, she gets back into the corner of the arena and makes Senketsu's eye just huge, like ginormous, and she just slams it down on the entire arena. And it's really funny, like it's flashing like danger, danger on Inumuta's like interface and saying that it's like impossible to dodge and stuff. And this just giant eye just kind of like, it almost seemed like an Evangelion reference to me, with the angel falling out of orbit and landing on them. So it hits him, beats him in one hit, and he's just done. So that was just like insane. I had no idea what Ryuko was doing at first. I had no idea what the deal with that eye was. But even she's like, to win, you just have to make a crazy attack more crazy. And that's the way that we can overcome this. It's like, god damn it. So at this point, the show is just like exploding into just like ridiculousness. I personally felt like this guy was pretty hyped up to be fairly strong, and he's taken out probably in the first, like, 8 minutes of the episode. Before even the halfway point, he transformed and is defeated like no problem. So another funny thing that I forgot to mention is that Gamaguri has actually joined Mako in the stands, because now he's a no-star. And, also, sorry, I forgot to mention, at the end of Inumuta's fight, right before Ryuko's about to deliver her finishing move, he forfeits, because he says he cares more about gathering intelligence than victory. So he leaves, and then he actually joins Mako and Gamaguri in the no-star stands, because he's wearing a track uniform. Gamaguri thinks that you should be like half naked or something for some reason, but he's wearing a track uniform. Gamaguri's not happy about that. and they're both just chilling with Mako, which is really funny. Like, I don't understand. Like, are they kind of being integrated into the No Stars and Ryuko and Mako's team? Was that just to be funny? Is that never going to happen again? But it was, like, weird, because these characters are, like, usually seen as being, like, these big bad guys, and now they're, like, comic relief with Mako down in the stands, which is very strange. And they don't have their uniforms anymore, so they have no powers. And I also thought that was kind of weird, because Inumuta doesn't get defeated. Ryuko doesn't steal his life fibers. He forfeits the fight. I would think forfeits the fight so he can live to fight another day. But he forfeits the fight and relinquishes his uniform to Lady Satsuki, I guess, because he becomes a no-star. So it was kind of weird. I didn't really see the point to him. What was the difference between him forfeiting or him losing? He became a no-star and went and joined Gamagori in the stands. So I kind of was confused at what the point of having him forfeit was, if that was just like to show his personality. I have no idea. So then we're immediately given Jakuzure Nono's fight. So that's the music girl who, like Inumuta, we have not seen that much of. She's very mysterious, and to me has always kind of struck me as like the mean one of the group. She always just seems kind of like nasty and snarky to everybody. So she seems the most sort of like villainous out of all of them, I find. So she transforms into this big cool transformation sequence, and she turns into this giant like tank that is like a combination of all of her band's musical instruments and her uniform, and it's so funny. Like, she's fighting in this just giant tank, and even my one friend that was watching the show with me was like, how is that a uniform? Like, how does that make any sense? And even Ryuko comments on it like, in what world is that considered a uniform? So like, this show's just going completely bonkers, and like half the dialogue that the characters are spouting is just them commenting on how ridiculous the situation is and how it doesn't make any sense. So that was really funny. But she's fighting in this really cheap tank that just attacks with like sound waves, and Ryuko can't even get close. And then she ends up flying with it, so she flies right in the air. And again, Ryoko's like, how's that fair? I thought that it was if you leave the arena, you lose the fight. And she's like, oh no, it's only if you fall out of the arena and touch the ground. You can still leave the arena, you can go fly around and stuff. It's like, cheap, man, cheap, but whatever. They even comment on that. It's like, you guys are just making up rules on the spot, you cheaters. But there's that. And then we're given a flashback with Jakuzure and Lady Satsuki. And this flashback, I actually really like this flashback. And it made me like Jakuzure more than I did before, and probably pushed her above Inumuta for me. And now Inumuta's now my least favorite of the 3 stars. Because it takes place when they're in kindergarten, so everything's all really cute, and they're like toddlers, and she gets like these kids to make her a sandcastle, and she's all happy, and everybody loves her. And then she's like, oh, and nobody can play in my sandcastle or have it but me. Oh, and you, Lady Satsuki. And then Satsuki just shows up with her like hand of sand. She's like just as stern as she is now, and in every flashback, even when she's in kindergarten, she's just as stern. And she's talking about how she took this part of sand from that castle, and that this is going to be her sort of monument, and that she just goes on her like philosophical rants about how, you know, if a castle isn't fortified and it blows over at the first gust of wind, then like what sort of fortress is it? And that from atop like a high tower, even a child can look upon adults, and that you should build this tower in your mind so that it's like steadfast and there's no way that anybody can knock it down. And that like inspires No. She knocks the sand out of her hand and grabs her hand. It's like, I'll always be here, like I'll always grab your hand, I'll be with you. So they have a certain relationship and friendship that goes beyond the other 3 stars. But it was also just really funny seeing them be so philosophical and stuff as little kids. It's just ridiculous and hilarious. So this giant aircraft is like shooting recorder missiles, and Ryoko's just getting her ass kicked. She tries some attacks, like she throws her sword on a string and wraps it around the aircraft and starts slamming it into the ground, which is effective. She tries to cut the wire, but it's noted that it's made of life fibers and can't be cut that easily. So then Jakuzure's like, oh, well, if I can't cut that, I'll just cut the arena. Which is the absolute, like, biggest, like, what? Come on, you gotta draw the line somewhere. Of all of the rules that are being broken, because is one of those like, oh yeah, how could I forget about my destroy everything button that she just pushes that blows up the entire arena. It's like, what? You can't just blow up the entire arena. That's not fair. Like, if you fall out of the arena and hit the ground, you lose. Like, if you can't fly and you just blow up the arena, you're not really leaving the person any options. So they blow up she blows up the arena. She's falling on like a rock, and then while she's falling on the rock, she fires another like huge barrage that blows up like even more than the arena. It like blows up the whole stadium and kills hundreds of people by the looks of it. But right when you think all hope is lost, her Senketsu evolves once more into Senketsu Shippu, or Gale, which that translates into, which is like an amazing, awesome, like jet flying form. Like that also, along with her just making the eye and beating Inumuta in one hit, was like, holy, like this episode, like 2 episodes in a row now, Senketsu has just gotten a new transformation that's been just completely ridiculous and out of nowhere. So it seems like these transformations and power-ups are just going to be flying all over the place. The Kamui can adapt to anything. And I really like this part too, because their teacher, whose name escapes me for some reason right now, he's observing the situation from on the ground, and you see him looking up at her Senketsu Shippu, and how the giant text always appears whenever something crazy happens in Kill la Kill. You see the reflection of the text on his glasses when he's looking up. So it's like just being really funny, saying that like even the characters can see the text, like it appears there in real life. Obviously not really, maybe, I don't know, but it's really funny when you see it, so there's that. So, sorry, it's Mikisugi, I had to look it up, but his name's Mikisugi. And he calls Kinagase, who is the red-haired mohawk guy at the end of the episode, and it's like, oh shit, like we haven't seen this guy since episodes ago, I think episode 5 or 6, where he was a total badass, so I've been waiting for him to get back into the game for a while now. But Mikisugi calls him and tells him that the Senketsu is evolving too quickly and that like they need to do something about this. So he starts charging him with his motorcycle, and it's actually really funny too. Him going towards the battlefield, it just looks like pure chaos from over there. And it's not attributed to the explosions, I feel like. Ever since this event has started, the sky's just been all red and scary looking, and I guess this was just like it's a stylistic interpretation. But when you see Kinagase driving towards this like red evil area, it really looks like there's like crazy shit going down over there, even though I don't think like environmentally anything's different. The sky just looks all red and crazy, so it looked really awesome. So amazing episode all in all. Just probably one of my favorite episodes of the show so far, for sure. But I think it's also important to note the preview for the next episode. So, like I was trying to say before with, you know, anime, and how generally when it reaches that halfway point around episode 12, it's usually a pretty crazy, climactic episode, and then the next sort of section of the show begins around episode 13. There'll be a new opening and all that. But this section of the show is really, really, like, just getting freaking crazy right now, and we're going into episode 11, so it's the penultimate episode to, like, the mid-season finale, if you would call it that. This is all just pure speculation, by the way. I'm not saying there's going to be, like, a mid-season finale. This is just my guess. And from this episode 11 preview, it's not just, like, and she continues to fight Jakuzure, and that's it. It's like, she continues to fight her, and then this random-ass person, Harime Nui, shows up. Who is this person? I don't think she looks like a student. She looks a little older. She's, like, wearing all pink. She has drill ponytails. I mean, drill twin tails or whatever. And, like a parasol. And she wears her name as an eye patch. Like, the narrator's like, watch out, Ryuko. She uses her name. A girl who uses her name as an eye patch is insane for sure, or something like that. So, this person is just being hyped up to be very powerful, I feel. But she's just coming out of the blue, like completely out of the blue. At first, from the images, I thought it was Lady Satsuki's mom, but it definitely isn't. Anybody have any guesses as to who this character is? Is she another, like, traveling vagabond sort of character? Is she from Nudist Beach? Is she... I don't know. Like, who is this person? What is her role going to be? She looks really happy and smiley, so I feel like she's going to be insanely powerful. And then she's going to knock someone down next episode, no problem. You see Sanagiyama in the preview. My guess, which has been wrong always so far, is that Sanagiyama tries to stop her or something, and then she just owns him. Because we've already seen him fight a lot, and he's been pretty hyped up to be insanely powerful right now. So I feel like he'd be a good candidate to just get smacked down by this new character to really showcase how powerful she is. But no idea where that's going. Thanks again for watching, guys. Please, please, please like, subscribe, comment. I love to get some feedback. And I will see you guys next week for episode 11, which is promising to be a pretty crazy episode. If not, I will try to get there between now and then with some other sort of content or videos. I just wrote my first exam in school, and I have a big break until my next 2 exams, so I should have some free time in order to do this sort of stuff. So stay tuned for more videos. At the very least, stay tuned for next week. And I just realized Madoka Rebellion is playing this Monday, and that is 100% getting a video, so you will be seeing me before next Thursday or Friday. Have a great weekend, guys, and I'll see you guys later.